I was 18 when my son passed away. I just hid in a hole, and I tried not to come out of it. And then the police came knocking at my door.
All right, welcome everybody to Convoluted. I'm Jesse Asher, and today we're going to talk about a case in Arizona revolving around a man that spent 10 years in prison for a crime that he did not commit. And as always, I'll leave the links below that I used. So we're starting off June 1st in the year 2000. And 18-year-old Drayton Witt was in a relationship with Maria Holt, who had a young son who was at this time 5 months old. And Drayton Witt was kind of taking that father figure role even though he wasn't the biological father. Stephen, the young child, was born a blue baby, and that's just essentially where there's a issue with the oxygen flow in the blood and it can turn the baby's skin kind of blue. So there was constant doctor visits, and at one point he was prescribed a medicine for flu-like symptoms, which shortly after that he started suffering from seizures, and the first one resulting in a 6-day hospital stay in May of 2000. So Drayton drops Maria off at work one day, and shortly after dropping her off, he calls her while I think driving home, but shortly after he drops her off, he calls her and says that Stephen had suffered another seizure, and at that point he put Stephen back in the car, so they must have been home by then. And he picks up Maria and they head to Paradise Valley Hospital. So on the way to the hospital, Stephen had stopped breathing, in which Drayton hopped into the back seat while Maria drove, and he started performing CPR on the young child. When they arrived to the hospital, Stephen is in cardiac arrest but is revived soon after, and then he is flown to the Phoenix Children's Hospital. So on the next day, June 2nd, Stephen was declared brain dead, and he unfortunately died in the arms of his mother, Maria Holt, at just 5 months old. And immediately upon leaving the hospital, Maria and Drayton, they had to get a ride home because their car had already been seized by the police. And once they got home, they came across police already searching their residence with a warrant. So almost immediately, they were suspicious of Drayton and Maria. And it seems a little odd that it was that quickly. I don't know what led to that, but it just, in my opinion, that's a little weird. So fast forward a little bit to November of 2000, and Drayton Witt was indicted for the murder of Stephen, the 5-month-old baby. And he went on trial in Maricopa County in 2002. So before we dive into the trial a bit, we're gonna first talk about SBS, or shaken baby syndrome. So SBS, or shaken baby syndrome, was brought into light in 1971. And according to Shaken Baby Syndrome Symptoms and Causes on the MayoClinic.org website, quote, shaken baby syndrome, also known as abusive head trauma, shaken impact syndrome, inflicted head injury, or whiplash shake syndrome, is a serious brain injury resulting from forcefully shaking an infant or toddler. And shaken baby syndrome destroys a child's brain cells and prevents his or her brain from getting enough oxygen. Shaken baby syndrome is a form of child abuse that can result in permanent brain death or damage. Permanent brain damage or death, unquote. There was medical testimony presented against Drayton from the physician that performed the autopsy of Stephen, and from other doctors at the Phoenix Children's Hospital. And all their testimonies concluded that Stephen had suffered from the triad of symptoms for SBS. The defense then presented a medical expert claiming the injuries could have been a result of dehydration, but they also admitted that they did kind of support the findings of SBS. So fast forward again a little bit, and we're in February 26th of 2002, and Drayton Witt was found guilty for second-degree murder and sentenced to 20 years by a jury of his peers. And the trial lasted about 10 days long. So unfortunately, while in prison, Drayton Witt had been attacked and stabbed multiple times by other inmates, but he lived through it, and he also ended up getting married to Maria Holt while he was in prison. She stuck by him the whole time. She believed he was innocent, and she believed that he, could not have done this to her child. There was some light at the end of the tunnel when, in 2008, the Arizona Justice Project, they re-examined the case, and 8 different experts reviewed the case and testified for Drayton Witt's innocence. So a state petition seeking a new trial in 2012 was filed, showing that the triad of symptoms for SBS had started to come into question. Dr. Norman Guthkelch, a British pediatric neurosurgeon, he wrote a seminal paper on SBS and claimed that SBS as the cause of death in the Witt case was inappropriate, stating that the aspects of SBS were, quote, open to serious doubt. And many other medical experts testified ruling out SBS, and it was suggested that Stephen had suffered from venous thrombosis, which was not considered by medical staff at the Phoenix Children's Hospital. Dr. A.L. Mosley, who was the doctor that performed the autopsy on young Stephen back in 2000, he signed a sworn affidavit after re-examining the case that essentially stated that he could no longer stand by his original conclusion back in 2000. And this was because of medical advancements and the understanding of SBS and medical research that has gone into that. Mosley said, and I quote, "If I were to testify today, I would state that I believe Stephen's death was likely a result of natural disease processes, not SBS." So on May 31st in 2012, Drayton Witt was released from prison, and on October 29th, 2012, the charges were completely dismissed, and Drayton was a free man and no longer a criminal on paperwork either. So he was able to have a fresh start. He was still married to Maria Holt when he got out. They're still married as far as I know today. They ended up having another kid, and they're living out in Arizona still, probably just trying to move on with their life and live as normal of a life as they can after he had a decade stolen from him for getting convicted for murdering a young boy. Shit's sad. Thank you for watching to the end of this video. Make sure to do all the stuff where you like and comment and share and talk about this. There will be more episodes to come soon. Multiple different cases I'm going to talk about. And make sure to check out the Arizona Justice Project, because they are the ones that helped get Drayton Witt out of prison. Also, make sure to donate if you can, volunteer if you can, talk about it if you can, just reach out. There's so many other programs out there. I wanted to highlight the Arizona Justice Project because that's who was highlighted in this case. If you want to read any of the stuff that I read, or you want to check out any of my sources, I'm going to link everything below. Make sure to check out the National Exoneration Registry as well. They have all the people that have basically been exonerated. Not basically, but they have all the people that were exonerated. You can click on any name, read about them, and just get involved, even if you're just reading about it, just learning and spreading the knowledge that you gain from it to make more people aware. So thank you for watching.